Welcome, dear students. In previous lecture, we have discussed these relative clauses. So our topic is that continues in this lecture as well. Relative clause. Okay. Uh, in earlier lecture, we have discussed that it gives us information. There is a relative clause. It's a complex sentence. It gives us information about the person, the thing or place that's in the principal clause. Okay, so this information, that's why we call it a relative clause or some defining clause. We have other type of sentence in this way. There is an extra information. Sometimes we have already an information about person, place or thing, and so to add the further information about that is called the action. We are going to take. Before that, we have discussed that for the conjunctions we have to use for person, place or thing. For person, if it is subject to who or that, if it is an object to whom or that, if it is a thing which or that, if it is a subject or object, in both cases which are that, if it's a place where. So I have given the examples for that. You have to go through it and you can understand. There is no difficulty in it. For that, also for there is a possessive, like this his. His is for that we use the conjunction whose or hers, hers. Okay, so there is my next door. A lady is my next door. A lady. Again, the same example I would like to repeat it here. A lady is my next door neighbor. Her car broke down. Two sentences are there. We have to join them to make one of them its relative clause. Okay. For that, here, it's her car broke down. Her means it's a possessive. His, her, these are the possessive means somebody possesses something. Her car is. So for that we use the whose car. Okay, or her car. Lady is my a lady, the lady. Now write sentence like the lady whose car broke down is my next door neighbor. So far, two rules we have learned, and this is the third one where we have to use this possessive. For that, the conjunction we use whose. A lady is my next door neighbor. Her car broke down. The lady whose car. This is information about the lady's car. The lady whose car broke down means possessive. We use this here, and for that, again there is rule number 3. That in that sentence we use we can't omit the what you call the prepositions. We can't omit the preposition. We can't leave the preposition. Prepositions can't be left. Prepositions can't be left. For example, if there are prepositions, we can't leave those prepositions. He knocked at the door. Sentence is like this. He knocked at the door. One sentence. The door was locked. Another sentence. The door was locked. We have to join them, make them one of them. We have to make it a relative clause, and here like this. But we have to keep this preposition in mind. We can't leave it like this. He knocked at the door knocked at the door which was locked. We can't write he knocked the door. He knocked at the door. Again, means the preposition. Normally, sometimes we forget to write in such sentence. So, but we can't do it. This was all about that. Some tidbits that we have told you about this. Now, extra information clause. Extra information clause. Already told you that this relative clause gives us an information about the person, place, but sometimes we have already an information about the person, place, or thing. In those cases, we add another clause to it, another information. So those sentences are called extra. What is specialty? How we can differentiate between the defined and non-defined? That's only we have to insert the commas. In defining in earlier clauses, you can't use commas, but in this case you have to use it because we have already an information, and now you have to add one more information about it. For example, let me write some examples. Here are some examples like this. A young lady is my next door. A young lady is my next door neighbor. She is a doctor. Look here, I have already given the same example earlier, the first one, but there I have written a lady is my next door. A lady. Okay, now you see the difference. In earlier I have given the example of this. A lady is my next door. A lady is my next door neighbor. Look very closely. A lady is my next door neighbor. She is a doctor. Means an information about the lady. But in this sentence we have already an information. A young lady is my. Now try to understand. A young lady is my next door neighbor. Earlier I told only a lady is my next door. But in this sentence we have already an information. What is that? A young lady is my information. So a young lady is my next door neighbor. So that means she is a doctor. It means we have to add it the further information to it. And so such sentences are called extra information. Let's write it down like this. The young lady who is a doctor, comma, who is a doctor. The young lady who is a doctor is my next door neighbor. Because it is an extra informative, so I have inserted these commas here. We have already an information that is she's a young lady, and so I have added one more information about that lady. She is a doctor, but I have to put it in commas. So that's called. I can write one more example here. Let me write down one more example so that it can become easy for you to understand the difference. This another example is here. My brother Majid lives in Srinagar. My brother Majid lives in Srinagar. He is an officer. He is an officer. Now, if you remember, I have already given such an example in earlier lecture. My brother lives in Srinagar. There it was like this. My brother lives in Srinagar. he is an officer. But here we have already some information. His name is like this. My brother Majid is lives in Srinagar. He is an officer. Means we have already an information. So such sentence, usually you remember that if there is a name given, in name of a person or a thing given, that means it is an extra informative clause. So we can write like this: my brother Majid, my brother Majid, who is an officer, lives in Srinagar. Again, my brother Majid lives in Srinagar, one sentence. He is an officer, another sentence. We have to join both of them. We have to make one of them, it is information, but it is an extra information. What extra information? My brother Majid, his name is Majid. So we have already just a lady, a young lady. Young is already an information. So when we add further information to, so it becomes an extra informative clause. In these sentences, we have to use commas like this. Okay, we got to omit the commas word here. Okay, this is all about the extra informative clause. Only we have already an information, and so we have to use the comma for that. One more thing we have to remember, that is already I have told you, we use whom for object. We use whom for whom is a person, for a person, and conjunction. A conjunction used for a person, but that is an object. Person के लिए हम use करते हैं whom को. Whom. For example, here is our great leader. Here is our great leader. One sentence. We love him. We can two sentences. Now we have to join them together. Here is our great leader. Whom we love. Subject is we love him. Object is he, means him, means great leader. For that we use whom. Okay. And earlier, if you remember, I have told you we can leave this conjunction for object. But there are extra informative. If we have information about an object, we can't leave this whom. There we have told you we can leave it, but here we can't leave it. Example is like this. For example, this is the one more. This we can't. Rule is we can't leave conjunction. For object in extra informative clauses. Okay, for example, here is a notorious thief. Example is like this. Here is a notorious thief. Here is a notorious thief. Here is a notorious thief. He was caught by the police. Here is a notorious thief. One Sunday, he was caught by the police. here sentence is, here is a notorious thief. He was caught by the police. Information is about thief. He is caught by the police. Police is subject. Thief is object. We have to use the information about the object. That means we have to use the conjunction for that. So for that we can write like this. Here is the notorious thief who was caught by the police. So you will excuse me, I couldn't write the whole sentence, but sentence like that. Here is the notorious thief who was caught by the police. So here is information about the thief, that is object. But already we know in defining clauses we can't we can leave the conjunction for that. But in this sentence you cannot leave the conjunction like who. We have to write it out, though it is for object. Why? Because it is an extra information clause. We can write one more example for this. We can make it. It can become easy for us to understand. One more example. His brother Bashir is a renowned doctor. He was awarded Nobel Prize. His brother Bashir is a renowned doctor. He was awarded Nobel Prize. Okay. Sorry, it is like this, Nobel Prize. We can write now, join these two sentences together to make it one, and but it is already extra information because the name, we have information about his brother, but the name is given there, so it is an extra information. We have to use comma, and besides that it is the information about this person, because he was, somebody awarded him. He was awarded, means Bashir was awarded, somebody gave him, so it is object. We can't omit here this conjunction like this. His brother Bashir, who was awarded Nobel Prize is a renowned doctor. In earlier sentence I have told you that if we have to use the conjunction for object, for that purpose we can leave it. But when it is an extra information clause, that time you can't leave the conjunction for objects, and we have to use the commas for such sentence. This is all about it, very easy to understand. You have to remember a few things, and I think this do for today. Let's conclude. Khuda Hafiz.